What is up, Los Angeles? It's your LA in roughly 10 to 15 minutes, and we are riding the D line today. Let's check it out.
So a couple months ago, the two of us took the D line down to check out the new LACMA building, and we basically just made a whole day out of it.
Yeah.
First thing we did after we got off the train was go get some breakfast. So we went to a place just a couple blocks west called Cafe Fresco, an Ecuadorian cafe that's just a 7-minute walk west of Wilshire Fairfax.
Yeah. Menu shot. Menu shot.
And the food was pretty solid.
It has like a lemon spicy sauce, so it looks like pesto, but it's very flavorful.
The eggs are really good. This one's the Wild West burrito. So it's got sunny side up egg. And the potatoes are really good too.
And we're rocking Mexican Heritage Night Dodger jerseys. Woo! Get the back. Yeah. Because they look rad, and I wanted to wear them to show them off. But also, it turns out today is the start of the World Cup, so Mexico's playing today. So it's perfect.
Brand A.
Before we went inside LACMA, we dropped by the Gary Baseman exhibition of menu art that was being held at Johnny's Coffee Shop, which was really fantastic. And it's always fun to have an excuse to go inside Johnny's. Unfortunately, I think this exhibition has since concluded, but here's the video from it. And then after that, we went to the Academy Museum. Mainly to see the Ponyo exhibition and the Marilyn Monroe exhibition, which were both really fantastic. The Ponyo exhibition was a bit smaller than we were hoping, and it was definitely more geared towards kids, which makes sense. But it was still very well designed. But the Marilyn Monroe exhibit was pretty extensive and had a lot to offer. So we were very impressed by that one.
All right, onward to LACMA. LACMA. Gonna go see the new building. I love this. We've got a few of them too. I guess you actually can sit on them.
Actually, before we show you the new building, I just want to share a little historical fun fact. So, this is what the original LACMA campus looked like back when it opened up in the 1960s. It had this very large fountain out front. With all of these beautiful spraying fountains surrounding a grand entryway. However, this fountain was later removed because the tar from the tar pits seeped into it and made it unviable. So they later filled in the fountain, and then they built a new building kind of on top of where that entryway was. That was the Art of the Americas building before all of this got torn down for the new building. But funny enough, there is a fountain included as part of the new building. So sure hope history doesn't repeat itself.
Wow. Looks like we have this sort of, what are they called, Nazca lines thing going here. I remember when this was indoors. Me. Whee! Wow. It's spacious. It's crazy to see all of them just together like that. Hey, it's a cube. That's what they call it.
Cube.
Cube! And the cube has a rainbow. Fancy. And then we got this guy who does a great car crash paintings. Yeah. Check it out. It's the Homer Simpson car.
This is like a different thing. Yeah, you can compare one thing with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can really make which I'm painting, right?
And then Grandma over here watching everyone. Actually, something I'm impressed by is how quiet it is in here, even with cars driving right under us. All right, we finished the new LACMA. Thoughts?
I liked it.
Eh.
I have a lot of memories of what the old building looked like, so it's really interesting to see the landscape in a different point of view.
I thought the whole arrangement based on oceans because it was based on like Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, the Mediterranean Sea. I thought that was a really interesting framing. Um, it it does sort of like disorient you when you go in initially, but I thought it was a really interesting effect.
Yeah. It's a really large building. It took us over an hour to walk through the whole thing. And what's interesting is also like even just turning one corner, you're already faced with different hallways and options. Like you do have to go back to find different rooms and galleries. Um, there's like one space right in the center of the whole building where there was a live performance, and that was really fascinating to watch.
That was interesting. It felt so spontaneous, because there wasn't like any announcement, there wasn't any signage. It just started basically. Although I guess we were hearing the violin playing for a while. The presentation of a lot of the artwork was really good, but I would have liked more written signage because I don't really want to take the time to open up something on my phone and read through it. I don't like that experience as much as just reading a sign.
I think this is like my first time experiencing a museum where all of the collections are in a single floor, so you don't have to worry about pulling out a map to find what you're looking for. The app itself does have like the locations of all the objects that are on view, and there's definitely something for everyone. There's historical objects, there's paintings, photography, video installation. Um, the windows towards the city are beautiful,
The
they're
views are
gorgeous.
amazing.
From an art experience, I think they are very distracting because there's a lot of historical objects that are protected through glass work, and the reflections are impossible to get out of your view.
Yeah, the paintings are like very glossy just from the reflections. They actually, that was a funny thing, they looked better in my camera than with the naked eye because my camera was at least able to sort of, I don't know, distort the
Filter
light,
the
filter the light a
lighting.
little bit. So it was kind of goofy. Although I will say, a critique I've heard of this building is that, oh, it's so huge that it overwhelms the art. And I didn't really get that because it's just so open and you're allowed to get so close to the artwork that I still had that sense of scale. Like when you're looking at it across the room, it does look small, but then when you get up close to it, the true scale of it really, did cut, like, you felt it. So I don't know. I didn't feel like it ruined the artwork in that regard.
No.
Uh,
But there's also like a lot of other portions of the room where you have sculptures from like ancient Egyptian and European that I love how they put them in conversation with the building because sometimes they're framed like they're looking outside the windows themselves.
that was great.
Or that they're responding to an artwork in their own gallery.
I like the lineup of it was like the Hindu sculptures, and it was just a lineup of them, but they were facing the window, and they but they're all kind of posed like this. Yeah, the openness of the building was really interesting, but I wonder if long term they'll be able to preserve that because, like I said, it created more work for the security and the gallery attendants. You could tell, so it's definitely like it's the very sort of contemporary approach to art museums. It's very similar to the Broad in that regard. That was kind of a weird thing. It's like it felt like a brand new art museum. It didn't feel like I was in LACMA. It felt like I was in like Broad 2.0 or something like that, but with more history and historical objects behind it. But the sort of, I don't know, attitude of it felt very new in that regard, which I don't know how I feel about that.
I think I like it because I've been to LACMA so many times, and when we were first exploring the building, like at the start, we were trying to remember if we'd seen a lot of the work already.
Yeah.
So I'm sure maybe a lot of the things that are on view right now haven't been on view before, because I know LACMA's collection just keeps growing every year. But there was a section where we started running into things that we had seen before, and the new way that the galleries are formatted, like there's some rooms where like all the walls are concrete, none of them
That was-
are
yeah.
white, and there's some galleries that have stained concrete, and I think that works in favor of the art because sometimes you just get bored of seeing paintings on a white wall.
No, I like that. I liked how certain sections had this sort of like dark blue tint to the concrete, and then others it was this kind of like reddish color, this very sort of earthy red color. So like it wasn't prominent enough to take away from the art. It was great as a background, but it offered this good variety as you move through the building.
One thing I'm excited about is that now that the construction is complete, there aren't any fences. It feels much easier to walk over to the tar pits.
Mhm.
And on the eastern corner of the building, you can actually overlook the little pond with the elephants.
Mhm.
I know the tar pits is going to be undergoing some construction of its own starting next year, but it's nice to just have it within walking distance again instead of having to go around
all
the
the
block
all the
and on
construction,
Wilshire.
yeah. I do. I mean, it is. It. You know what? They did succeed in the thing that they said, and all the architectural stuff is that the building would be in communication with Wilshire, with the tar pits, with all these like neighboring institutions, and it is. I mean, yeah, like being in there, you feel closer to the tar pits. I really liked that little fountain they had on the back with the Calder sculptures with the fountain. And yeah, I liked how, and I love how open it feels now. It makes you appreciate just how much space the old buildings took up. I mean, going through the floor, the galleries, it felt very like like a maze. It was just so crazy. It was like we were skipping over stuff, and we were still like, I can't believe we haven't even crossed over Wilshire yet. This is how big is this building?
That's also another good thing that it reinforces a connection with the craft contemporary because
Yeah.
it's across the street. And since the galleries take you over the street, there is an exit and entrance on the eastern side, and now you don't have to worry about crossing heavy Wilshire.
Mhm. So this is your first time here?
Yes.
Okay. Neat.
It's so cute.
Yeah. Yeah. We can find a place to try. And of course, the Grove. The Americana of the West Side. All right, that is a wrap. That was a whole day spent playing tourists in the West Side.
Yep.
Well,
Bye.
me.
And if you want even more content, over on our Patreon, we have an extended cut of this video where you see more of LACMA and we get into much more detail on our thoughts on the new building. It's over on the Patreon. It's available for paying subscribers at just $1 a month. So go check it out. And if you want to plan your own trip to LACMA, I now have a guide on our website that covers the entirety of the Miracle Mile. Just go to transitinlosangeles.com or click the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.